Hey, welcome back here to the Central PA Pour. And if you can see, all three of us are in studio again. Kevin's off to my left, Dave's off to the right. And gentlemen, it's fucking raining.
Yeah, it is.
We're getting a lot of rain right now.
Yeah, what's the name of that? What's the name of that hurricane?
I have no idea.
Yeah, we're getting the rain's coming from a hurricane. I can't remember the name of it now.
I didn't. So I was away last week as we were recording. It said Ocean City Bike Week. So I'm not on the motorcycle, so I don't pay attention to the weather forecast right now. And I didn't even know it was going to rain until yesterday.
Yeah,
nice. When it was raining.
It's supposed to rain all the way up into next week.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we talked about back in when we were recording, we needed rain, then we had too much rain.
Yep.
And it got dry again.
We were bitching about the fact that the grass was growing, or not growing, it was turning brown.
Yeah, and we're coming into October here, and Oktoberfests are going on, and we're going to be mowing grass twice a week again.
Yep.
But hey, check out our merch store.
I want to do a shout out for my son.
Yes,
that's
ahead.
right.
That's right. We got some special news to announce for Ben, our fourth compadre.
Baby little Winslow. She's a happy little baby girl.
Well, congratulations to Ben and you, Grandpa.
Yeah, thank you.
Again.
Yeah.
So 2 daughters now for Ben.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's that's some exciting news. So, but yeah, we'll have to make sure we get Ben on here sometime when we can lock him down from his wife and kids. But check out our merch store. Look us up on all your social media platforms, wherever you get your podcast, and our YouTube channel. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe. I do got another merch on me. I got a sweatshirt on me.
And a cup.
And I'm drinking out of a CPP glass, so check that out. It all helps our show. And we have some special guests. But we got something going on that we were approached about. It's called Hops and Vines for Hunger. And it's going to go all month long in November. It's presented by Breweries in PA, PA Eats, and Feeding Pennsylvania. There'll be a list of podcasters, bloggers, and stuff that are participating in that, along with breweries, wineries, meaderies, all throughout Pennsylvania. So we'll put some of those links out there where you can find out and go out and help support this awesome thing to help feed those who are hungry here in Pennsylvania. So, but right now, we have some special guests sitting in studio, and we're going to bring them in here. Give me one moment. Welcome to the Central PA Pour, gentlemen.
Welcome.
How you guys doing?
Thank you so much.
So tell us who we have sitting straight across the table from us in our studio.
Jimmy Jaxx from Jimmy Jaxx Shine Shack up in Dillsburg, PA.
All right. And Redline, correct?
Yep. I have one in Redline, too.
Yeah. And then Bill.
Yes, sir.
Who are you with?
I'm with Old Republic Distillery. And we're in York, and we have farmers markets. We do farmers market sales. We no longer have a tasting room in York, but we're from York.
Oh,
You know the way you say yes, sir. I expected you to salute him there for a minute. You know,
I could if you'd like me to. Wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary.
No, I salute him all the time.
Sure.
You do?
Well, he deserves it.
Well, our salute being ex-military and your salute.
My salute's a little different than your salute.
Yep. So, Old Republic Distillery, and you brought Jimmy Jaxx, who we've been trying to get hold of. He used to have Bald Hills up here in Dover. We used to frequent that place quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So welcome to the show. I know we've been trying to get you on here, and you guys are related, you said?
Through marriage.
Yeah.
Through marriage?
We don't claim each other in blood.
No. But we still tell everybody we're family. The funny thing is, really love Jimmy and everything. Our cousin, we're related through our cousin.
Okay.
And her name is Angie Smith, and we lost her 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss on that.
COVID complications and whatnot. So just a shout out to her husband and her son. All wishing them all the best and always thinking about them. We absolutely love our family members and miss Angie a lot.
Well,
but that's how we're connected.
Well, that's a story, and again, sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
It losing any family member or anybody really that's close to you, it's tough, and it's how we as survivors move on. Mm-hmm. But you keep the memories alive.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So I think it's great. We appreciate you both coming down here today and sitting in studio with us to talk about Old Republic Distilling, how you guys got started, and Jimmy Jaxx Shine Shack.
Yeah, man, let's have some fun.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the history of Old Republic. Where did that come from? How you got started? Was this something that was, like, what was your business plan, and was this a dream?
Oh, yeah. I should probably start when I was about 10 or 12 years old. That's how far back the dream goes. I was a unique kid. We had magazines back in the day. You know, the mom and dad, you'd get magazines, you page through the magazines, and I saw an ad for Jack Daniels that if you sent $1 along with the clipping coupon they had in the magazine, they would send you a copy of all their former and a lot of old whiskey labels.
Nice.
So I said to my mom, hey, can I do this? And she said, sure. We sent away. I got them. I was probably one of the only, 12-year-old kids whose bedroom was decorated in Jack Daniels labels. So I've always been infatuated by how adults, when I was a kid, how adults would drink this stuff, and it was magic. Magic would happen. They'd suddenly be very, very happy. And so I thought to myself at a young age, hey, I'm going to have to get into this business, making people happy. And so that's what drug me here. Ultimately, fast forward, it was illegal in the state. I think Jimmy and I both moonshine for quite a long time. And that's really the only way that you could get your feet underneath you and understand the science of it all.
So you guys were doing this a long time together?
No.
Okay.
No. We both live and we're from York County, right?
Right.
Well, York County is, if you look at the history of York County has the most moonshiners, produces the most moonshine in the entire country ever since Prohibition.
So why isn't
Wow.
Pennsylvania on that damn TV show?
Because we don't promote it. We don't promote it. We're trying to, under the
radar.
Yeah, you got to keep it low. I guess down in Tennessee and stuff, they yelled it from the rooftops, and we didn't.
Right.
So that bringing that up, Old Republic Distillery is first in York since Prohibition. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is an awesome sign. And you guys have been putting out some great product. I know we've had it several times.
Absolutely.
I don't normally travel that path, but I will sample that path, and that it's great. And you're saying there's a lot more of you guys that are in the woodworks that just have not opened the brick and mortars, correct?
Right.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't know the real number, but I would venture to guess in York County, there's probably at least a couple thousand people moonshining.
wow, I was going to say that puts out the breweries in Pennsylvania have
Right.
skyrocketed. Wow, I never would have guessed that number.
I got to get around.
It's York, guys. This is the epicenter of it all.
Hey, we were the first capital, official for. Well, I guess you can call it first capital, but it was kind of moved around back then. But Jimmy, how did you get into this?
Oh, I made beer back when I was a kid. Some wine with my grandfather. And I came across a guy riding a motorcycle, and he was running a still, and I took interest in it. And he said, "Keep your mouth shut. I'll teach you." So, yeah, I played around with it for a little while till I was about 19, 20 years old. I met my wife, got away from all that kind of stuff. She didn't even know I knew how to make this stuff up until maybe 10 years ago, when the Moonshiner show came on. My father-in-law, he said, "You ever watch Moonshiners?" No. He said, "Come on over here and I'll show you how to make some moonshine. Or you can watch this show with me." So I sat over there, and he said, "Yeah, we'll watch this." And I sat down with him, and I said, "Well, hell, I know how to make this." And he looked at me real weird. He's 6'6" tall. He says, "Oh, bullshit." Okay, I'll be quiet. So I went home, built 2 stills, made some mash. Very next weekend, I had to come over to help on a tractor where we were restoring, and he looks down. He said, "What the hell you got going on there?" I said, "Well, I'm making some booze and just proving I know how to make it." And it just went from there, man. It was just kept climbing and climbing.
Became your best friend.
Yeah, we did a little bit of drinking
And you could use sometimes you could use it in the tractor to make it run. Huh?
Well, I've done some crazy stuff with it. I have actually took a weed whacker and drilled the jets out, made jets a little bigger. It takes a lot more alcohol to air ratio to mix and run these things. And I'd sit there and weed whack, wait till a bunch of people come around. I'd shut the weed whacker off, take the lid off. Drink it right out of the weed whacker, man. I'll tell you what, I call all kinds of hell for that.
So that's what's wrong with it.
Yeah. But
That's funny. But you guys have your product. You guys have built your brands both up, and now it is pretty much all over. I know it's all over your county, but how far of a reach does your product get to?
well, it gets out there. I mean, I've had stuff clear down in Florida, California,
Wow.
that people bought from me locally here, Germany, Venezuela, Korea. I've been all over the world with my stuff.
Yeah, and your products are being sold in the Pennsylvania stores, correct?
Yep, we're in 245 stores in the state. They have 600, so it's not that big of a number. But yeah, we keep on trying, climb that ladder and introduce our products to new people.
Right.
And the more we do that, the more stores, hopefully over time, we can accumulate and eventually get in all the stores in the state.
It's awesome. Now, do you guys collab on anything together?
We've
Different
talked
stuff?
about it.
We've talked about it. We just a
Here we
lot
go.
of stuff going on. Right?
It's funny. Your production is up and down. It depends on your demand, and so it fluctuates a little bit. When we're both down, we're talking about a collab, and then we get real busy, and it just goes
Never
away.
happens.
It never goes away.
It'll happen eventually.
So the difference between brewing a beer and making distilled products, it's a different process a little bit. It's a lot different, correct?
100% different. Other than the grains that you start with,
Yeah.
beer is one of those things. You have to baby it. You have to be very careful with it. You ferment it in a closed, environment. You still convert to sugars. You do all the things that you need to, but
Right.
that's the end of it. That's the end of the similarities. After that, we do open fermentation. We welcome wild yeast. We welcome some bacteria. Bacteria is not a bad thing to a distiller.
Okay.
Like it is to a brewer. So, going about it right at the front, or right out of the gate, you have to look at it a very different aspect than making beer. And, that's, as far as the fermentation, you're done with a beer, you go ahead and you clear it out and, can it and keg it and whatnot. With us, at that point, the end of the fermentation period, you throw it in a still, and that's a whole nother process there. It's going into physics instead of biology. So,
Right.
so we really enjoyed that aspect of it too. And for me, probably more so because I have a physics background. So it took me a little while to really get into, all the little things and nuances that I did not know about the fermentation process. Took some years to really figure that stuff out and become really comfortable with it. But yeah, you go into a still, you warm it up to a certain degree. I run a hybrid plate still. And so, running things through the hybrid, depending on how you want it to taste and flavor, there's 100 different ways to run your still.
I was going to ask, like, for example, between the both of you, if you started a batch today, how long until... And I know there's 1,000 answers there because you could do so much with it, but,
Right.
how long... keeping your business flowing, how long does it take to do each batch successfully to keep, the average batch, I should say?
Well, depending on the product you're making.
Right.
If you're working with corn, which is a great product to work with for a distiller, corn will ferment in anywhere from 3 to 5 days. It depends on the yeast you use. It can go a little bit longer depending on the yeast you use. Rum, on the other hand, and rum takes my rum anyway, the way I do it. I purposely try and do a 3.5 week fermentation.
Okay.
And that's just to elongate those molecules to get as much flavor and depth into, the total, the mash after it's done that I can, because I have to do that or I can't get anything of value out of the still later.
Yeah.
And so you got to let those things build, let that flavor get in there. If you're doing fruit, which we do some brandy from time to time, apples ferment fairly quickly. So you're looking at 5 to 7 days for, any kind of fruit mash. And then, the column, usually that fruit mash goes into a small column still I have.
Right.
And, so all things being told, a corn mash can be fermented and run within a week. Fruit mash is usually within a week and a half to 2. And my rum takes anywhere from, it takes 4 weeks to totally.
Now, batch sizes, what are...
all my test batches and my brandies that I make and stuff are all 50 gallons.
Okay.
My gin still is also a 50-gallon still. But our main still is a 300-gallon hybrid. Yeah.
Wow. So speaking of, before we get some
I got some ideas.
some more conversation, we're talking about rum, and I think that's what our first one's going to be.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what we're going to be sampling here, Bill.
That's our gold rum. We call it 1741 because that's the year that York was incorporated.
Okay.
So, basically what it is, it's a rum that's aged in bourbon barrels. And this particular one was not wet, as we talked before the show started. This is an emptied barrel. It wasn't completely washed out. It still had a little bit of the bourbon kind of in the wood a little bit. So what you're going to smell here is kind of a butterscotchy / bourbon almost smell.
It smells delicious.
Yeah.
So you're going to get some butterscotch. So the difference of a rum, you're going to get some more of a sweet molasses characteristic out of it, correct?
That's correct. And we don't put any sugar in our rum. So I mean, what you get in sweetness here really is kind of the extension of the molasses. Your brain wants to tell you you're tasting sweetness, but there's no sugar in it.
Wow. So this is the 1741 Gold Rum.
Yes, sir.
Cheers.
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 1741 Gold Rum.
Yes, sir.
It's delicious.
Oh, I do get some sweet notes out. I'm not saying I'm getting the butterscotch out of it yet. Or like I said, this is not a path I normally travel with distilled liquors, but the more it resonates, the more that sweet. Now I'm starting to get some of that butterscotch note out of the back end.
Yeah,
It's
breathe a
just
couple
right.
of times.
Yep.
And that's pretty damn good.
Well, thank you very
It's
much.
got a little bit of a burn, because what proof is this one at?
This is actually bottled at 80 proof.
80?
The bourbon barrel itself gives it, more of bourbon-esque flavor.
Yeah,
and
that little-
mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're making rum, you're like we said before we broke, is you're getting your molasses is usually a high point of making it, correct?
Oh, yeah, it's 100% molasses rum. So everything you're tasting, I have 2 different rums here. Both of them have somewhat of a decent ester count. Unfortunately, the bourbon barrel hides some of the esters that you will taste in the dark rum.
Okay.
That's kind of unadulterated, if you will, not oaked at all, and has a more pure rum flavor to it.
Wow. Yeah.
So we'll get to that one.
Yeah, this one's pretty good though. I mean, I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to say I'm going to drink that bottle, but this is enough for me right now.
Kevin might.
Yeah,
Kevin and you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
My daughter bought me a bottle back from Sturgis, bourbon. Went over to Dave's house, and I came back, and Christ, there was only not even enough for a shot glass left in it. I said, Dave, it's a good time.
It just happens,
It happens. It was good drink. It was good fit time. We're a family now, so it's all.
There you go.
So Jimmy, tell us a little bit about Jimmy Jaxx Shine Shack. Now, like we had mentioned, you had a place here in Dover, right above us,
Yes, sir.
Bald Hills Distillery, and it was a going on thing. And unfortunately, you had to close shop and move somewhere else with it, and it took you a while to get reestablished another footprint up there. And you went to what, Dillsburg area?
Yeah, I'm in right in town, Dillsburg, beside the VFW. That's where the main distillery is, and a good bit of paperwork went into it, and I had quite a few investors to help me out with it. I went into it with my material and my know-how and will to work. So I got got a lot of that back in me, and now I'm basically on my own. I do have some help here and there when folk, when my investors are, helping me out with paperwork or,
The business side of it. Yeah.
Man, all I do is make booze, I don't even drink it, but I make it. Yeah, but yeah, it took a while to get back up and running. Had some problems with the borough. They won't allow me to sell out of the building, so that kind of set me back. So I actually bought a trailer that I'd take around. I license events on exposition license. I'd take around and I'll sell cocktails right out of the back of the trailer, which does really, really well. But I don't like to impede on anybody else. So I kind of pick and choose where I go. Like down at when these guys are down doing shows, I try to stay away from their area. I have a buddy in North Carolina. They come up for the Keystone State wood chainsaw carving over in Shippensburg every year, and he's like, "Dude, you got to bring your trailer up." And I'm like, "Well, that's kind of Cold Spring Hollow Distillery area." So I actually called them and asked them if it bothered them if I bring my trailer down and sell. No, we like competition. So I was like, okay. And
I warned you.
Right. And I'm down there just selling drinks left and right, bottles left and right. And I look over and they're barely doing anything. I'm like, now I feel bad, so. Well,
no, they gave you permission, buddy.
They gave me the permission.
They need to step their game up. From sounds like.
Actually, what they did is they threw the gauntlet down. Is what they did.
Right.
I will say, the Pappy's Peach was one of my favorite. Out of you. But then during COVID, when things were always shut down, you were doing limited production runs up here in Dover.
Right.
And my wife was working from home, and you put a fucking root beer out, and I'm like, honey, you got to go up to Jimmy's and. She stood in line, and by the time she didn't get any, so I didn't get any. It was like day after day. And now you got a place in Redline as well, correct?
Yep. It's just a small little place down Broadway. I think it's 157 East. Is that right, east or west? I don't even know where it's at. But it's.
He looked at me. I just want to make it.
I don't know. He might know Redline better than I do.
I know it a little bit.
I think it's East Broadway. It's just outside of town, down past Golden Crust Pizza on the left-hand side.
That's good.
It's called the Corner Hub, and I'm in the back side of that. So
things are getting better.
They're up and down. Yeah, up and down.
Every business is up and down. I'm in the auto repair. We have a good week, and next week I'm like, shit, I just want to sell it. But
right.
It's just the way business is. You don't have a typical tap room anymore. You had a sampling room at one time, correct?
Correct. We had a tasting room at the distillery, and the building we were in, once was a nightclub and a live venue. The live venue side was bigger, and of course that's where we built the distillery, and we just left the bar in the other side of it. So we operated it there for 4 or 5 or 6 years. And we just grew, and I needed more fermentation, and so we decided to move the distillery tasting room to the markets. So we're in Thomasville.
Yep.
What's that one called?
Morning Sun Market.
Morning Sun Market.
Morning Star. Yeah.
Earlier this year, we started at Eastern Market in York, which is just a fantastic market. I remember going there as a kid.
Oh, that's been around forever.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool for me, being drug around by my grandpa in there, and now to sell our booze in there. It's really come full circle.
Full circle. That's awesome. So there is no sampling room, or do we still have a sampling room?
Not at the distillery.
Okay.
We turned the bar, tore the bar out, and turned that into a bottling line and finished product ready to go onto the trucks, which we needed space for both of those things after the new fermentation line. So. We're also opening a new place. Actually, 2 weeks ago, we opened in Market Shrewsbury.
Okay.
Which is a great opportunity for us because we have yet to really kind of do anything in South York. So, we have big expectations down there. And one of the reasons that we have big expectations is that a lot of our every other week people we see at our stores are from Maryland.
Yeah.
We have a lot of travelers from Virginia, Maryland, and New Jersey who come, to get their bottles. Now it's going to be a little bit closer to them. Shrewsbury.
Yesterday when we were at the gun bunker, I heard a couple people talking about it.
Oh, really?
And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, we're going to have them on the show.
That's so cool.
In a day. And I didn't want to budge into their conversation, but I did hear it yesterday at the gun shop, and it was like, nice.
What are the chances of that?
So
Yeah. Do you have 45 ACP? Oh, yeah. You want to talk about vodka and rum? In a gun store. That's awesome. It usually tells you, hey, don't mix the two, but hey.
Yeah, well, the government did. The alcohol
True.
firearm.
You're absolutely right. We're just following their lead.
Now, do you guys have when it comes to making like beer? There's hundreds and thousands of ways you can make a beer. Is that the same in when it comes to distilling, or is
Absolutely.
it? So you can take a vodka, a rum, or a Shine and do whatever you want with it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you a quick example, if Jimmy and I made a mash together, he took half of it in his still, I took half of it in my still, we would end up with different products.
right.
Right.
And a lot of that is the physics of the still he uses and that I use, how much reflux you get and what can you take out, what can you leave in. And, of course, all those are options that you have as a distiller. You do not have to run a still the same way every time, and I really would like to clarify that with your listeners. A still is a tool, and it's a multifunctional tool, like a Swiss Army knife. So you can run a still in a gazillion different ways. And so it really depends how you run a still, depends on what kind of product you want to put out, what kind of flavors do you want in there, how heavy do you want how high do you want to take the alcohol proof to negate another material you don't want coming through. If it's heavy, then we reflux the living crap out of it in the still, and only the lightest stuff gets through. Of course, at that point, you're bringing it out at 175, 100, and pretty close to 190,
Pretty high proof stuff.
Yeah, and you have to watch that, too. If you get too high in your proof, you lose flavor. So there's a happy medium in there, and depending on the medium, the stuff you're using, so your fermentation, whatever it is, depending on what you actually want to do in the long run, in the end, you will run that still a different way.
Right.
I have a few different things that I make. The still gets run in a different way each time. So it is a tool, and it's a tool that really needs to be understood, and the different things that you can do with it. And that's kind of where we come in is, if we just run it the same way every time, we'd probably have junk.
Right.
So it's part of the learning process just as much as fermentation.
Now, do you have more fun making the rums and the other stuff compared to Shine, and the same with you? Do you stick mainly with Shine, Jimmy, or do you venture into some of the other stuff as well? I'm just trying to get a feel for what you guys like and what your passions are.
I'm making a lot of Shine now because that's what I have to. That's what I make. It's my product. It's what I got to try to keep up with. Every once in a while, I'll mess around with just little things here and there. Like my wife, she wants an oat whiskey. She did last year, and she went against Amanda Brown from the Moonshiner show with that, and came in second with it.
Wow.
So now she wants to put this back together again, and we're going to start making an oat whiskey. I got an 800-gallon mash tun I got to put in here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and
It's becoming a family affair.
Yeah.
that's what she wants to try. So we're gonna let her have at it. I told her, I said, "You got to do all the work. I ain't doing all the work. I'm already doing all the work, So,
Dude, I'm telling you what, just talking to you guys, my wheels are turning. We got a fucking TV show sitting across this table from us, man.
well, I've
More with Jimmy.
yeah. I mean, I'm good friends with all them guys from the Moonshiner show. I was actually going to be the first master distiller, not the first master distiller, but I would have been the first nominated master distiller for the show, and I bailed out of it. And then once I bailed out of that because of this stuff going on up here in Dover, Jimbo Bray, he went in and he won it, and we were actually walking around the Thomasville market, me and my manager, and I got a phone call from him. He's like, "Hey, dude, I need a hand." He's like, I'm doing this show. He says, "I need a hand with infusing and stuff with different flavors and where to put them and how much to put them. And I'm like, blah, 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 tell them all stuff in like a couple of minutes. And it wasn't even, 6 hours later, he called me back and he said, dude, we won. I'm like, sweet. So now my name's brought up to McGill Entertainment, which is the entertainment company. And so every time something happens, McGilla is like hearing my name, and I'm like, nope, I'm not coming. I'm not doing nothing with it. So it's a lot of drama.
Bill's looking at you like, send him my fucking way, man.
I don't want anything to do with it.
I actually got Crazy Chuck from the Moonshiner Show driving from Connecticut to my place as we speak.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
It's a dang gone shame he wasn't here now. We could have brought him.
I can get him. I can get him on the phone if it'll pick him up. Josh Owens. I think he may or may not show up. I'm not sure. We're trying to talk him into it. So he's was in an accident back in
Florida.
Yeah,
I heard he was in an accident.
So he's just now starting to get around a little bit, to some great meats and stuff like that. But I invite him.
He's a crazy son of a bitch.
He is one. He's another hand, dude. That guy's got.
He was up at Bike Week, and we had the mini Bike Week racing going on at Gettysburg, and he was recovering from an injury then, and he was still out there being a crazy guy on a little mini bike running, and then I think he got hurt again. I'm like, Jesus, buddy.
Yeah, he did. And I was actually down there for that, and that's he's high strung. I mean, there's nothing slowing that man.
Well,
down.
that's TV personality. I mean, that's kind of what draws people to the television, and there's what you want, people that have a different type of personality.
Yeah, man.
So I mean that's great. You got your wife's getting into it. You got connections, Jimmy and Bill. What do you like making? Do you like making the rums or do you like just doing it all?
I'm more passionate about the rums nowadays because when I drink, I really like tiki cocktails. Falernum, the various different syrups and stuff that you can make at home.
Right.
Along with, we make the three rums that we have are the aged rum, the high proof dark rum, and then our white rum, which are pretty much the three rums that you need for a tiki drink. And I don't know, it's just the rum has always been my favorite thing to drink, when it comes to distilled spirits. I remember being, too young to drink and trying to find somebody to buy me a Mount Gay Barbados rum.
Right.
And you were always going to find somebody. You might have to ask a couple people. But I'm guilty of.
It's kind of like when we were growing up, you find somebody going to get you beer, and whatever they come out with, you were drinking. It didn't matter if it's what you wanted or not. You give them $15-$20, or you're getting whatever they brought.
Oh yeah, here's your red, white, and blue, buddy.
Yeah.
Your Schlitz.
Your Schlitz.
We had a guy, Old Yella. I don't know what was longer, his beard or his hair. I mean, they were both. He looked like a meme. But you're right, $15 and case of this and a bottle of that.
Oh,
I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. I've always admired all this concept, like brewing beer and distilling products like that. And now that we're kind of starting to understand a little bit about the process, it makes me appreciate it that much more. Especially when you guys come to distilling your liquors. And do you run it through more than once, twice? It depends on what the product you're after. The final product is what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, if you're running a pot still, then you have to do a stripping run. Mm-hmm. And then you collect what you collect, which is everything that runs out. There's no cuts involved in a stripping run. And then you put that back in, usually, you better put it below 40%. I usually run mine about 20%. I don't know what you do yours.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit above that. Yeah.
Are you? I just find that 20% works good for my machines, and so I usually load it up at 20%, and then we'll do a stripping run. That's where you pull out the heads, make sure that your cuts are nice and clean, and you run your good stuff out, your hearts, and then you're looking for that tails when it comes up, and you cut your product out of that. So it's a second run in a pot still. In a column still, it's just one run. But you create so much reflux in a column still, and you have so much control over the weight of the materials that you can dial it in. You can get whatever you want out of column still with one single pass.
Wow. Yeah. So you mentioned the heads and tails, and I've heard that terminology before. Mm-hmm. Just kind of refresh me on what that actually means.
Sure. You want to take this one, or you want?
It don't matter. You want me to take it? I can take it.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, your heads are basically your higher end alcohol. It comes out anywhere from 170 to 188, sometimes 198. On my still, like his still, I don't know where he starts at. And then we'll run it out, try to get rid of some of the esters that like your smells like rubbing alcohol or whatever, and we'll get rid of that. See, now I don't drink, so I do it all with smell and feel.
And that's even a more skill because you're trying to get it without actually tasting it on your palate.
Right. And I'll sit there and I'll feel it and smell it and feel it until it starts to get a little slick on my fingers. That's when I start collecting. And then I'll run it down until it, I start smelling the still itself. When I'm smelling it, it'll get even slicker yet. So now I've done that over the years and years and years, and luckily I did do that when I was able to drink, because I didn't know I was going to have this heart attack and have my kidney problems and all this jack. So now I can still smell and feel and all that, but and then when you get through your hearts, you get your collection of hearts, and to me it's real oily. Starting and I start tasting my still because it's all copper pot still. And I'll start tasting my still. That's when I'll cut it out, and that's my collection. But I'm running my still 14 hours a day. I don't know about Bill here, but at the end of a 14-hour day, I don't even bother with tails. I'm done with it. I just shut it off, dump it, and get ready for the next day. Because otherwise I'll be there and then there again. So
now you get different products out of the heart and then the tails. You get two different products.
Yeah, for example, like tails are very important to me. Especially in rum making. And I think a lot of whiskey guys will tell you the exact same thing. There is valuable distillate in the tails. And in fact, in rum, a lot of your rum esters and rum flavors and things that you really like about rum come through in the hearts, but they really intensify in the tails.
Right.
Now, you can't keep it all. It's not just like keeping the tails. There are parts that you can keep, and there's parts that you definitely do not want.
Right.
Because getting any of that stuff in your distillate collection is bad news. But yeah, we like the tails. If you like my rum, you probably like the esters that we create and the mash in them that we bring out usually towards the end of the heart's run. Get a little bit into the tails.
Oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm getting a hell of a good education. How about you guys?
Yeah.
So speaking of sampling, I think there's another one here. But Jimmy, this one's yours.
Yeah, that's a collaboration, moonshine watermelon that I collaborated with some friends down in Tennessee. I bugged them about this, and finally I talked him into it. So I bought the recipe from him, and I pay him some money on every bottle I sell. So, and that stuff there, we've been selling the heck out of it. It's actually catching up to my peach moonshine.
Oh, wow, the Pappy's Peach.
Yeah, and that stuff is, Pappy's Peach, I've sold thousands and thousands and thousands of bottles of that stuff, but now this year's starting to catch up, so.
Well, as a professional, it's delicious.
Thank you.
Cheers to, this is Cooper Creek Watermelon, correct?
Yep.
All right.
Nice.
I get the watermelon out of it.
It's just a little 50 proof and light sugar.
Oh, wow.
That is good.
You get the watermelon as soon as it hits your tongue.
Yeah.
As soon as
Right,
it hits your
right.
tongue.
I was expecting a little bit more bang, like moonshine, like your white lightning.
Right. It's good
That's
and smooth.
actually very smooth.
Yeah, good and smooth.
No, I can see why you're saying this has become a pretty popular
Yeah.
product. That's an easy drinker.
That's a wife's drink.
Yep,
Oh,
we
yeah.
mix that with water or like lemonade as a cocktail, and and the watermelon pulls through it. The more you mix that stuff down, even though you're dropping the ABV down in the actual drink, the watermelon pulls through even more yet.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
You know, I think after the rain stops, guys, we're going to have fires over the house almost every night this week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right on.
Yeah.
A bottle a night, I think.
Yeah. We'll do a rotation.
Don't forget to video all that.
Well, he'll go down first. He always does.
I do. So that's the viral video we need.
Right.
is Brett stumbling around the fire, maybe into the fire?
Into the fire.
Just start at 2 hours into the adventure, and you'll be good.
Right.
The one day I was drinking all day long. And what the hell did I have? I had Honey Jack. Had the first bottle gone before he come over.
I brought a bottle.
We brought a bottle over, and next thing you know, he was rolling down my little hill.
Yeah, it was,
Brett,
moving on. Moving on. So, when you get into this stuff, do you think about what you guys want to do before you start the process, or is it like, okay, hey, I heard about this, or I had it somewhere else, and that's what inspires you to come up with your own, or is it like us brewers, like, I think I'm going to make this? I'm just kind of curious and trying to feel this out. Is where you guys come up with your recipes, and then, have you had? That's what I'm just trying to figure out.
Well, mainly with mine, I have a few recipes I've already come up with and have formulas and stuff approved for. But now mainly I'm looking at these guys from Moonshiner Show like Jerry Benson, Crazy Chuck, and a couple other guys I know there. I think it's for me to come up with more recipes per se than go to these guys here that don't have the chance that I have. That I'm doing these collaborations with these guys, and like I said, I buy the recipe from them, and every bottle I sell, at the end of the month, I ship them some money for the amount of bottles I sell, and they're happy. I'm happy. I got a new flavor,
Right.
I'm working with Jerry Benson's girlfriend. We're working on a Reese's peanut butter cup sipping cream. And my mother-in-law put that in some kind of like a Cool Whip and made a pudding out of it. And this stuff here it's so good, they say, and I'm like, man, I really want to try it, but I know I'm going to pay for this for the next 3 days.
Cool Whip with a kick.
Pudding shots.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
that's
with
awesome,
pudding.
man. Pudding shot.
Right.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
You can get pretty wasted on Jello shots if you're not careful.
You could. You can.
So, Bill, what about you? I mean,
Yeah, my process is I kind of know what I want to do. I figure it out on paper, and then it never goes that way. But it's really a systematic process, and we put a lot of R&D. So it's making the rum or making whatever you're going to make, seeing if it has to be adjusted to fit to a certain flavor profile. I have a 50-gallon still. Wish I still had my little 26 because it makes R&D a lot easier. The smaller the still, you don't have to make as much mash and go through as much stuff. If it doesn't work out, you just didn't waste 50 gallons worth of mash. And I think I'm probably going to buy a 5-gallon just test still to allow me to go through the process faster. Because as of right now, everything's a 50-gallon. Pretend, see how it works out, move on to the next. So you could go through 10 different mashes and 10 different distillation styles just to try and hit exactly what you're trying to do. So yeah, we put a lot of time and we put a lot of money and effort in the research behind it, but it does start on paper with math. So.
and the full-time jobs for both you guys, or is this all still a side gig?
Just going to ask that.
Full time.
That's all we do.
It's all full-time.
Full time.
And
So that basically what we're doing is we're waiting on people to come buy our booze and set at our bars to
help
to
feed
help
your-
us out.
Yeah.
If we don't don't start, we could be the next Devil's Eye. You know what I'm saying?
we hope-
So
we
just
hope
don't know.
not.
We just keep chugging away. That's all we can do.
We hope not. Now, you had mentioned, Jimmy, that you were a master distiller. Did you guys go to school to get the master distillation? How did you learn this process, or is it just trial and error?
I don't believe in the term master distiller.
Okay.
I think that you're a distiller, and whether or not you're a master, I mean, the term master distiller comes from 200-300 years ago, when if you wanted to be a distiller, you hooked up with the master distiller and you spent several years learning every single technique that master taught you.
Yeah.
And then in order to get your own master, you had to create a masterpiece. If you didn't create a masterpiece, you couldn't be a master distiller.
So that's how it came about.
That's
so
interesting.
in the modern day, it's just kind of more that people assign themselves the term master distiller because they own a distillery or they're the head distiller or something like that, and that's fine. I never really cared one way or another. But for myself, you'll never hear me refer to myself as a master distiller.
You're a distiller creating great product.
I am a liquid
Liquid Hero.
I love those guys. I really do. I like their
Oh, I
great
didn't even
stuff.
think of that. Yeah, but yeah.
Well, I'm a liquid arts director is my term.
That's awesome. I like that one.
Yeah, so I'm not a master distiller, and no matter if I spend every single second of the rest of my life distilling, I will never want to be a master distiller.
Yeah, I did
There's
not
always
know
a lot
that
to
there-
learn.
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
not
you
know
always
that there,
learn.
yeah, you're every business, every day there's a
Right.
you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're doing something wrong.
I love that you said that. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
it's a constant learning process, and really, if you're not taking in what you're doing wrong, evaluating properly, how are you ever going to get better and grow?
And it's okay to fail.
it is
It
okay,
is okay
to
to
fail.
fail.
Yeah, man.
That's how you learn for the next time.
Well, in our business, it costs a lot of money to fail.
Yes.
But you do have to fail at least a
Right.
few times if you're, inventing a new product, you're trying something new. Failing is just part of the process.
Yeah, it's like we're brewing on a Brewzilla, which is an all-in-one brewing system, but they have distilling stuff that you can buy for this 5-gallon all-in-one. You can make it into a still. Don't get no ideas, Kevin.
That's that was going to be my next question.
Well,
For
it's
me to
got
go down,
That's
what would it cost for me to start tomorrow?
I'm still trying to dial into beer making, not
that Brewzilla. That's actually that. It has you can get the top cape with the column and all that stuff on it, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They make a still for it, or for the top where you would snap it on where the lid goes.
Right,
Yep.
right.
And then it
Yeah, I've
becomes a
seen-
still.
Yeah, I've seen them up at Scotson's.
There could be your 5-gallon test batch.
I do need to look at something smaller. 50 gallons is it's a heck of a loss when it doesn't come out right.
Right.
But a lot of
I was shitting a brick when I had to dump 5 gallons. I couldn't imagine dumping
Yeah.
50 gallons of a product out where it's just like, oh crap.
Well, out of 50 gallons, by the time you're done running it, you are only dumping 5 gallons out. It's just after you run it off. So.
Yeah.
Right, and like the bad part about it is when you get your 5-gallon mash made up. I've noticed it with my stills. I don't know about his stills, but you get a 5-gallon mash made up, and you run it through your 5-gallon pot, and you're like, yeah, this is really good. So you multiply that to run a big run, and it don't come out the same at all.
Not at
it
all.
never does. So you got to kind of tweak and figure out where you're at to get that batch, and then you got
That's
the cleanliness of your still and
Right.
how it's seasoned, and it's a lot involved.
What's a lot? I mean, he knows how to make the mash. It's not the problem that the mash is different.
Right.
It's the physics in the still.
Right.
A small test still doesn't have the same cubic inches inside. It's not going to give you the same
Right.
reflux
Yeah.
as your main still.
Right.
So you can only do so much on a test still when it comes to, kind of figuring out. So the stuff that you run on the smaller still you take it, with a grain of salt and say, hey, okay, this is good enough, but I just need to now move to the big still and try and figure out where the physics need to be in that still.
And even in brew making, even making beer, it's the same thing. You could step the recipe up to go from a 5-gallon to a 3 or 4 barrel or 5 barrel, and it may be different because the equipment's different. You said it's a tool.
yeah.
It is a
And
tool.
you have to understand your tool when you're making these recipes.
Yep.
Well, there has to be 1,001. I mean, it's the style that you're making, the equipment, and any other thing in between.
Yeah.
Right.
And everyone has
The
their
materials that you're using, and there's
The secrets, right?
Yeah.
So Jimmy's got some secrets. I got some secrets. You don't just go buy a mash bill and, look it up on Google and say, how do I make corn mash? And then just follow it, because I guarantee whatever you can find on Google, he does it differently than what Google says, and so do I. And there's little secrets, little tweaks, little things. A lot of it is actually nutrients. It's how do you go
Right.
about making sure those yeast are as happy as they can possibly be.
Because yeast is where it's at, no matter if you're distilling
It
or
is.
brewing.
Right.
The yeast-
It's in the yeast.
It imparts a lot of flavor.
Yep.
And so if you're going to take that into consideration, you have to want those yeast to be as healthy as possible. What kind of environment do you put them in so that they're nice and happy, toasty, giving
Yep.
you all the best of everything? and it is, a perfectionist kind of thing. You really want to watch your temperatures throughout fermentation, as you said
Yeah.
before with your
Yep,
beer.
yep.
There's a lot of things, nuances, but those nutrients, those little things that you do here and there that help, everyone keeps those very close to their heart, and everyone has their own thing. So yeah, there's a lot more than what the mash bill calls, this amount of grain and that amount of grain, and most places just do not. They'll tell you that they use 4 different kinds of yeast, but they don't tell you what they are.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the automotive repair, we love YouTube certified people.
Right.
They make me money.
I'm guilty of that.
I have no problem with it as far as people that can do their own work, but yeah, YouTube told me it was this. Well, you got to still pay me to figure out if it is that. So,
Well, I had a different thing going on here when I went from Bald Hills to up here in Dillsburg. I used to, our well was 528 feet deep. So that's the water I'd pull out and I'd filter through a micron filter and a carbide filter to make my mash in, and I've done that for years and had good smooth booze. I moved up to Dillsburg, and I'm actually Blowing Springs, and I'm right up the road from the main spring area, and I actually have a spring behind my house, spring house that comes out 4 inches. You gotta come up and check it out, but it comes out 4 inches in diameter. First time I made a same amount, same ingredients and everything, but just different water. I got 5 more gallons of yield out of my run. And I'm like, man, this stuff is really good, but I got a lot of, where am I getting this extra 5 gallons of booze?
Right.
So I started researching. I'm like monolithic pressures, and then I wouldn't really cause it. It makes a difference in it, but so I called a buddy of mine, Alan Bishop, out in, I don't know if you know Alan Bishop or not, out in Indiana, Spirits of French Lick. I called him and I said, dude, he's like an Accu chemist. I said, dude, I'm getting 5 more gallons of booze out of my run with the same exact mash bill. And he said, well, where are you running down Dover? I said, well, I'm running well water. And the first thing out of his mouth is he says, well, you got iron in your water. I said, okay. I said, what's up with my new water? He says, you got magnesium in that.
Magnesium.
And I'm like, interesting. I said, where in the hell is all the, so if I put the iron and the magnesium together, it should stick together and be able to filter that out. He says, oh, it don't work that way. But if you think about your well casing going down to your well, that's sweating all the time, year round. It's rusting all the time. So all that the sweat is building up on the rust, running back down your well, and it's getting in your well. He said that the magnesium from the spring, you're going across all these different kinds of rocks and minerals and stuff, and it's so good clean. But yeah, that was crazy. I mean, 5 more gallons. I'm like, yeah,
that's even better for you.
Right.
Yeah, because good old Dover water.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
hard limestone and a lot of clay.
The limestone doesn't hurt. It's the iron, and we have a system that takes iron out of the water before we actually mash.
Right.
And the same system feeds our boiler system too, which is very important that you have the iron removed.
Right. Yeah, because it'll eat the shit out of that on the inside.
Yeah, totally corrode it from the inside out. So we're very particular about the water that goes in the boiler.
Right.
So we got another thing sitting here, and this is yours, Bill. This is your apple pie.
It is apple pie. It's a traditional Appalachian-style apple pie made with real apples, apple pressings.
I can smell it.
Smells good.
Yep.
And I'm getting a little cinnamon note out of it. Is there some cinnamon in it?
Yes, sir.
All right, so this is Old Republic apple pie. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wow. It tastes like almost like a fresh baked apple
Yeah.
Yeah.
with a lot of cinnamon sitting on the top of it.
Yeah.
That hits you secondary, the cinnamon.
Yep.
Really kind of tastes like an apple pie.
Does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It does.
A little bit of cinnamon in there.
Fucking
a little
delicious.
spice. Combination of apples.
We might be carrying you home.
yeah, you just got to carry me up the steps. So between the watermelon and that, shit, I'm going to be fucked up.
We sell a lot of apple pie
Yeah.
to beer drinkers, believe it or not. That's the one product we make. I think that the diehard beer drinker will allow themselves to actually have some apple pie every once in a while. We sell so much of it. And hunting season is coming up. I don't know. I probably have, maybe 200 cases of it. it's all going to be gone within the next few weeks because the hunters will come in and buy it by the 6-pack or 12-pack and take it up to hunting camp.
Yep.
And it's always,
Right.
I love the stories we hear in January and February, after the hunt's over. And they come in and they say, man, we got this, that, and the other and drank 12 bottles of apple pie moonshine between 6 guys. Like, yeah, baby.
I saw 12 points on that, but it was actually only a buck. A spike buck.
Spike. Got to have 3 on one side.
And these guys will take this stuff up, hunt and stand, and next thing you know, you got deer coming up thinking they're smelling apple juice or whatever. And
As long as it isn't like that one, what was that one video? The guy's up in his deer stand and that bear crawls right in his stand with him.
yeah,
Oh my
right,
God,
right.
I'd have freaked the hell
I
out
love
about
that
that.
video. That's awesome.
The funny part about moonshine, though, growing up in central New York, worked with a company, and this old fella used to bring me some moonshine from the Carolinas every year. Mason bottle, and it was just strong corn, and it burned. To me, it was the best ever. I still go back to that and think it's the best. And then when I moved here to Pennsylvania, there's flavors to it. It's not just
Right.
corn and it burns like hell.
Well, that's the stuff Jimmy was drinking out of the weed whacker.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I like. That's
Yeah.
I'd go back to that every minute if I could.
So speaking of that, when did people start putting flavors to Shine?
Yeah,
To
well,
like the
that's-
white lightning and stuff. I mean, because if you think about popcorn,
Right.
their Shine was white lightning.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
what
it
they were
good.
known
Yeah, it was
for.
like corn liquor, yeah.
And going back to some of the history of distillers, it was always the like white lightning or
Yeah.
straight up whiskey that was
Yeah.
like
Yep.
drinking turpentine.
Yeah.
So where did all this other stuff? Do you guys have an idea when this all started to come around? Or
I mean, I started seeing it in the early 2000s. Is the first I
Yeah.
started seeing it. We have family in West Virginia, so we'd go down to West Virginia, and just like you said, it was corn liquor and was good corn liquor. There's difference between one to the next, but you
Yep.
always wanted the other guy's stuff.
Yeah, right.
Well, then all of a sudden you started having options. We were given the option. Well, do you want the corn liquor? Do you want the blueberry, or do you want the cherry?
Right.
And so we were like, oh, there's flavors, just like you said.
Yeah.
So we tried them all, and honestly, the blueberry is something that always kind of caught my heart out of West Virginia, and the guys doing stuff down there. That's really the first I heard. It was probably maybe 2004, 2003 in that area, and I don't know. They were probably doing it a while before then. You might
It
know
really-
that better than me.
It really hasn't really brought up, came about real hard until this Moonshiner show came on, and everybody started watching this, and it's just like, okay, we got this, we got that, we got this. How about this, or how about that? It really came about after that came on because everybody started watching it. And I mean, they're going on with their 14th season, 13th or 14th
they still?
season.
I didn't even know if it was still on or not. I mean,
Right.
I knew they had that master distiller show that
Yeah,
they turned
yeah.
into.
Yeah.
Do you think that trying to broaden your horizon to get more people to try it is where it may have had something to do with it to bring in different consumers?
It makes a lot of sense to me.
Right.
Probably, yeah. Getting
There-
money during different deflation times, is
Yeah, because
2008,
Right.
so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I think Old Forge down in Tennessee, there near Dollywood.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't think they bring in their liquor. Then they just blend it.
Right.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I think they just blend it with their flavors. I think there's another one up the northern side here, Jaxx Distilling.
Never heard of that.
Never heard of it.
They do. I think they do the same thing. They buy the
NGS.
alcohol and then they
flavor.
blend it and distill it. Not actually distill it, but I guess fuse it into a product
Right.
that they can sell.
Right.
Now, to me, I'm not, like I said, this is not my path I usually travel. I like to sample and dabble, but I would go out and I would buy a product that's more flavored.
Yeah.
And because I'm a beer guy, but if I can sit there and drink
Yeah.
something like that
Right.
without that whiskey burn, I'm going to do that.
Sure.
And the consumer may have something to do with it. I don't know.
Well, I think that's why a distillery has to have products with flavor, and you don't just make one thing in hopes that everybody's going to like it, because as we talked about before, it's subjective.
Right.
Your flavor and what you like is different than his.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
but-
I have to make something for everyone, and that's how Jimmy goes about it too.
I guess
I base my flavors all around women. 'Cause I'm telling you,
Yeah.
because
I was just going to hit that.
when COVID kicked in, we were selling a lot of bottles.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier.
A woman would come in and she'd buy 6 bottles. A man would come in, and I'll take 2.
Yeah, 2, 3. Yeah.
A woman would come back 4 days later and get 6 more. A guy would come back 2 weeks later and get 1. So it was kind of weird and a learning experience, like from men to women, because the women like this flavored stuff. They like to get drunk because they're stuck at home with the kids, their husbands. You got to deal with them. We're just a bunch of dickheads. So
Well, you think about it. You could put that into a little cup of coffee, a little bit of,
Right.
there's 1,001.
I
Put it into the muffins for the kids and get them to slow down and calm down a little bit.
right.
You get in trouble for that.
I got a snow cream collaboration with some folks down in Tennessee too, the Van Fleets. People come in. I mean, I make root beer floats out of this stuff, and they drink it up. And I have a friend that comes in from Allentown, drives clear from Allentown to buy a case of this once a month.
So you still got your root beer shines? What you're saying?
No, not yet. I got it. Everything's legal, but we need some asses and seats
Okay.
Yeah.
to buy all the everything we need to.
Right.
So I'm just spending where I can spend and where I can put it to make
Putting in the product that's moving.
Yeah.
to make the most out of it until things start picking up.
Sports. You guys watch any sports?
Oh yeah.
Is it your type of season with football going on?
Look at his hat.
Yeah, I mean the.
It should say Syracuse, but it said something else on that hat. I mean,
It says we are.
Yeah, man. Penn State. My son goes to the Penn State Medical School up in Hershey.
perfect.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
He bought
Awesome.
me this hat for Christmas, and I wear it all the time, pretty much.
I think they won last night. I
Yes.
didn't get to see it.
Man, they demolished Iowa.
It's about time because that's always one of the tough bills for Penn State.
It is.
Iowa's always played them tough.
Yeah, and why? Coming into the game, I'm thinking, oh, this is never an easy one.
No.
Never an easy one. But they did a fantastic job at shutting them out, 31-0. So, hey, here's to Penn State.
Well, yeah. Cheers to Penn State. Yeah. So
Cheers.
we need to get over the hump of Michigan and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you guys cheers. I'm sorry. I had to lean back a little bit while you.
He's a Pitt fan, so
You
we
don't have a
always-
wheelchair sitting out there for him if he does get a little hair.
No, we just throw him.
It's raining. I'll let him fall in the grass because
Thank you.
he's a Pitt Panther guy.
I am a Penn State guy, and the funny thing is, every single fan base that we beat so far this year has been calling for the firing of their coach.
So, what about
Wow.
you, Jimmy? Any sports
I'm
you
not
watch?
really into sports that much.
Aren't
I
you?
got too much stuff to do. I mean, I used to race motocross and stuff like that. Messing around with some sprint cars here and there. But yeah, I'm just not into chasing balls around or watching balls
Nah,
being chased.
man.
I got other stuff to do.
Yeah, wrestling is my favorite sport, and the World Wrestling Championships were just held in Belgrade. I believe it was.
Yep.
Just last week. I love wrestling. It's great to see the U.S. team win the title, the championship.
I did not know that, but I know Penn State always has a hell of a good wrestling program.
Yeah, college, of course, I'm a Penn State fan, so,
Right, so-
wrestling kind of goes along with that, and they're looking at, 11 championships over the last 12, 14 years.
14, yeah, I think
14
so.
years. It's a dynasty. Kale is just unbelievable coach. He brings in, Cody Cunningham, his brother Cody, and Cunningham, who is a fantastic coach. David Taylor even put a little comment up on Facebook a few days ago saying I would have never been a world champion without Cunningham.
That's awesome. So would they need to transpire that some to the football program once in a while?
Yeah. I'd love to see the program just as dominant as the wrestling program, but
Yeah.
being a wrestling guy, I just absolutely love
Did
what
you
Penn
wrestle
State
in
does.
school?
I was probably the worst wrestler in school.
I dabbled in it 1 year.
Yeah. It's funny. I was a late bloomer, so I didn't try
Yeah.
it until later. And, what I did was really fell in love with the sport. And then when I was in the Navy, there were some guys I used to help out, wrestle. Just basically let them throw me around because they needed the practice. But, it doesn't diminish my love for the sport. Really passionate about college and, senior level.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. You are. Thank you for your service. You
Sure.
were. I did notice that you were a veteran-owned business.
Yeah, we sure are.
So I'm here. I'm a veteran-owned business.
Well, thank you for your service.
Kevin's a veteran. Dave was denied.
Oh, that's okay, Dave.
You were getting drafted as well.
I was getting drafted actually,
Really.
and it wasn't so much denied. It was just that they didn't want me.
Yeah.
It was,
You got fortunate, is what
I
you
got fortunate
Yeah,
because it was during the Vietnam War.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't want to be put out there in that. Actually, I think what helped me is I was in college at the time, and when they went to draft me, they actually drafted me out of class.
Really.
And so when I went down in it's just like I was telling Brett, I said, it was really strange. You go through the litany of physicals and the test and the mental test and everything that they put you through, and then at the end of the day, he comes back and you have this room full of men, and the guy comes out and he actually said this. He said, half of you guys will get a letter, and half of you guys won't. And he says, the half of you guys that don't get a letter, don't worry about it. They'll never
call you again.
No.
And I was in the half that didn't get a letter. So.
Well, sometimes your calling is a little bit different.
Yep.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you as well.
Jimmy, are you a veteran or
No, they wouldn't allow me to go.
wouldn't allow you to go?
I signed up and I had bad ankles and a bad attitude, and it was
Really?
That's
Come
why
on.
I went in, because of my bad.
right.
I had all that, and it didn't help me.
Right.
I still.
So what is which one did we pour here? This was the dark rum, I think, or
This
was
is the dark rum.
This
Yep.
was the dark rum. So tell us a little bit about the dark rum compared to the gold rum.
Well, the dark rum is not aged at all.
Okay.
What it is, it's a high proof. So we bottle this at 100 proof.
Yeah.
And it's really meant as a dark rum to kind of like fit that high proof dark rum request for tiki drinks and certain cocktails that are out there. The way it actually came together in a bottle, though, is, I think, better than I really had planned, because it really does carry through a lot of those esters that I try and keep in the rum. Whereas before, in the aged stuff that we tried before, I think the barrel takes a lot of that creaminess and
Right.
butterscotch away. So here we have more because of higher proof, and then we have just an unadulterated way to taste and enjoy this one.
All right. So here's cheers
Cheers.
to the Old Republic dark rum. Cheers.
I love the smell. What do you think?
Well, I can definitely tell it's high proof because it went right to my nose.
Yep.
But the longer it sits, I'm starting to get some of the sweetness of the note out of it.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and drink more than this. This
Yeah.
is way plenty. No, that's good. I mean, actually, the longer it sits on the back on that palate, it's starting to just resonate.
Yeah.
And I understand when, like I said, when we had Yanni on, he said, let it breathe.
Yeah.
And that's where you'll start to get what you guys have put into the product. So
Yeah.
For, it's a tickle of the tongue. You can feel it in the back of your throat, and then the flavor comes through, and I like it.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique kind of
The stronger, the better for me.
experience. I like it strong too. I really like the strong, or at least our booze strong. I try it out of the still, and it's
Yeah.
170 some proof, and I like it that way because I like the esters, and obviously the higher proof, the more the esters are, kind of put into that
Yeah.
smaller.
So these typically aren't meant to drink like we're drinking them. I mean, you can, but some of your products are meant more to be like in a drink, like you were saying.
yeah, I mean the aged rum.
Either or,
I
yeah.
drink that straight all the time. It's great.
But
Straight.
somebody for like me, you're going to want to recommend putting it into a drink.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it
we
makes
don't
a great
sell
rum.
Kool-Aid there. I mean,
No, it's a great rum and coke. Actually, the dark rum is a great rum and coke because you get that
You do.
higher proof. You get that and when it goes into a coke, the coke doesn't just drown out the rum.
It accentuates it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you really get a
Yeah.
little bit more out of it.
I was going to ask you about the Captain and people like Captain and Cokes.
Yeah.
There's something different about that Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
That people really like and get drawn to. You just had some private stock the other day, but I think you need this dark rum.
yeah.
I think,
What- I was
to
gonna
be
ask
honest
that.
with you, I think this is on a par with that. This tastes. I like this a little bit better than the first one we had. That was rum, and that was good.
Yeah.
But I like this a little bit better than the first class that we had.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why we make so many different things. You know, you like one better than the other. He likes the other one.
Yeah, and we all have. Everybody has a different palate. You guys
Yeah.
have mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Future plans for any of you gentlemen? Anything future? No more expansions, or are you looking to
right
expand
now-
some more?
Right now, no more expansions. I'm just gonna stay where I'm at as long as I can until we get things up and rolling. I mean, I've been offered numerous places to put different bars, and I'm just like, man, I really don't want to jump into anything else. I mean, I'm in debt now. My bills cut.
You're trying.
I don't have much out in loans because I've already owned the equipment. So.
Sure.
So I took some loan to TTB. They want that, and the LCB wants to know where the money's coming from. So I took some loans and put it to use. Once that's all the money's coming from, so I took some loans and put it to use. Once that's all paid for, and then I could go from there. Because I'm more of a cash person, man. I need to see my numbers like right there in front of me. I can't be just looking at a bank every time
Now, as far as both of your locations, since you actually have a physical tap room,
Right.
are you with your liquor license? You're allowed to serve Pennsylvania products as
Yep,
well.
yep,
So
we-
you're not just. It's not just Jimmy Jaxx or some
Right,
others. You
right.
have maybe some beer there as well.
I have some gift horse beer there down from Jason. He's my main supplier down there. I had him up in Dover, and he's
people.
good. He's good people. So we kind of swap things back and forth, to keep that going. Now up in Dillsburg, I have Icy Light, Icy Mango. I just put on a pumpkin ale, which is really good. I have some gift horse up there too as well, and some Yingling and stuff like that. But I got 11 taps on up there that I built my tap system out of, and I'm down to like 2 taps left to put something different on.
So remind us again where they can come visit Jimmy Jaxx Shine Shack.
I'm in Dillsburg, PA. There's 735 Harrisburg Pike. I'm right in the basement of Back to Basics Western Wear. If you're coming up 15 North, see the big barn that says Boots and Western Wear. I'm in the basement of that.
I didn't even know that was still open.
They just actually sold. Bob actually sold a fellow up there. They took out the chiropractors in there, gutted the whole first floor, redid everything, and now they have
It sounds like a Jimmy Jaxx music venue going to happen there.
Well, yeah, we have every Friday and Saturday night. We have from 7 to 10. We have entertainment there, and they
get there. That's
yeah,
good time.
We'll have to.
last night we had Dillweed there. One hell of a bluegrass, like Irish bluegrass band.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Wow.
But we didn't have that much of a crowd. Maybe 20 people tops, and that's a punch in the throat. Like
It is when you plan something. It is
right.
Not to jump the topic back to us, but we do the same thing because we want to tell everybody's story, and they're like, "Oh, you got to cut it down smaller." And those same people that are saying cut it down smaller are the ones talking for 3 hours,
Right.
And they love it, but you got to get people's words out, and this is how we do it for
just-
you
Right,
guys.
right.
And you also have a place in Redline, correct?
Yeah, that's down Broadway. If you look at the corner, it's the corner hub. It's right down from Golden Crust Pizza there on Broadway. That's just a little guy. I don't know who. It's about 40 people. I have one guy working down there, Carl. He was an ex-employee of Bald Hills. I really liked him, so I took a chance on him managing that place down there. And that's holding its own. It's paying its own bills, so I can live with that.
That's good. And Bill, any future room for a tap room or tasting room again, or are we just going to stick with the markets? And did I see you have a place in Ephrata, or you had a place in Ephrata?
No, we have a place in Ephrata.
Okay.
It's a barn. It's a beautiful place, actually. It's a lot different. I'd mentioned before we have 3 different markets that we sell our products at. We can sample there. We don't mix any cocktails. We sell mainly just bottle sales. But over in Ephrata, it's a different story.
Yeah, there we go.
They come up with cocktails via roulette. The girls over there actually kind of spin on their phone the roulette wheel, and they have all the different, boozes available on the wheel. So whatever it lands on, they put in. and they go through this system of being able to, pick this, pick that, what the mixer
We
is.
need to go there.
And so once a week, however it turns out, it can be absolutely disgusting. But they will offer it on the menu because that's how it came out on the wheel every week. Great people over there, just wonderful, relaxing time. Little bites of food,
Yeah.
plenty of outdoor space. So it's one of those places in the fall. Lots of fire pits, great activities going on almost all the time.
So you find that was definitely a better fit for what you wanted to pursue with your business, and then keep your product in the markets on this side of the river. I think it's awesome what you guys got going on.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, we're trying. We have as far expansion goes. We spent so much money and so much time in expansion over the last 3 years that we're more or less done with expansion for a little while. It's a matter of, because we're in an economic downturn.
Right.
Before we spend another dime, we'd like to see things turn around.
Right.
Yeah, you want to see that return.
Yeah,
That return on the investment come back.
ROI.
and
Yeah,
it's
I know.
coming back. It's
It
coming
is.
back.
Yeah.
So
And I think you guys have been around, both of you have been around long enough. Your names are both well established.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
in the community. I've seen both your products in a bunch of the breweries that we visit on a regular basis. They're there. Yours are in the PA wine stores.
Yep.
I've had a great time. I mean, hopefully you guys did too. We
Oh,
got
yeah.
to learn a little bit about you.
yeah, definitely.
We finally got Bill to sit down. We finally got fucking Jimmy to sit down with us.
He's got a twofer.
Well, I'm sitting here texting Crazy Chuck. He's on his way down from Connecticut, and they should be getting about close. So he's like calling me. I'm like, well, I'll get back to you. Just give me a couple minutes here.
It's funny because both of you, Dave and I, not so much Brett, love the hard stuff, and your names have been brought up so many times from.
Your wife likes the blackberry one that he has.
Well, my wife, yeah, I taught her well,
She likes
or
the
she's taught me well. I don't
Mine-
know.
Mine or his.
the blackberry vodka. I
Anything.
think.
Vodka.
That's right.
Yeah, there we go. And
You know-
we got a little dispute going on there.
Yours will give her a headache. Mine won't.
No, we'll go ahead and have a wrestling match right here in your basement. Suplex Jimmy Jack.
Coming in at
come on now.
167. No, it's really good.
Yeah,
The good thing about Shine, as the kids grew up, because I was always a whiskey drinker, and they'd steal all the other stuff and put the water in there to replace the levels.
Yeah.
But the Shine, you can't do that. I mean, it's a true giveaway. You get a little water in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as my son listens, the fourth member here.
Dave,
Hey, where is he? I'd love to meet your son.
Oh,
He should
they-
be sitting right there.
He should be, but
Yeah.
the baby, yeah.
He's had a
Oh,
lot
that's
going
right.
on. Yeah, he had the baby going on.
Super.
New
super.
house, real quick, new baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's busy.
Well, could you give him
I will.
our best?
I will.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
would do that. Dave, any last comments from you?
Actually, you
this
just
is
did.
not-
I'm sorry. You just did over here
Okay.
on the podcast.
Good deal.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry,
no,
Dave.
this was nice, and we got a chance to dabble into the other side of the PA pour, because that's what we are, is a Central Pennsylvania pour, not beer, just Central Pennsylvania. And we want to get into wine also. You run into a little bit of a stick, but we're hoping to get our wine.
We're not sampling it.
I can help you with that.
Oh, you can?
Oh, I tons of friends. Like that's the wonderful thing in the industry. You talk about breweries. I have tons of friends in breweries. You want a winery here? I've got so many friends in wines because I run their wine for them so that they can make things like port wine.
Yeah.
Because they give me the wine. I run it into brandy. They put it in their wine, and then they have a port wine.
Yeah, which is like 24%, correct?
Yeah, I mean at least 20.
Yeah.
So
We've actually had a beer that's 24.2.
wow, I'd love to try it.
I haven't seen it. It's actually in our closet over there. It was from Duclaw. From
Duclaw.
Colossus.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Barley wine aged in brandy barrels.
Nice.
Oh, wow. It was good.
I'll
It was good.
bet.
It was good.
Yeah, there's every once in a while something like it comes out and just blows your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. So what were you got? You want to finish up here, Dave?
Yeah,
Or
I've
we
just
steal your thought.
Maybe no, it's okay. I may have to get in touch. Talk to you. We actually have a setup for a wine tasting similar to the one we're looking at here with the spirits. We have one for wine, and we just need to, like you said, if you have some people that maybe we can collaborate a little bit.
Yes, some of the best in the industry.
There you go.
I'll make a phone call for you guys.
I like that.
Man, we appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
We need to get more of those 1,000 distributors or distillers here in York, PA.
Yeah.
Get some more of them on here.
They won't tell you that they do that, though.
Yeah, that blows my mind. I love this.
That did blow my mind. So one last time, Jimmy, we have Old Republic's information on here. Where can they find Jimmy Jaxx Shine Shack, like internet, stuff like that, social media?
You can find me on Facebook, Jimmy Jaxx Shine Shack, or Jimmy Jaxx Shine Shack South for the Red Line location. My personal is Jimmy Jaxx. If you friend request me, you're gonna have to message me first because I don't accept them. I'm not in this.
Who the fuck is this?
Right.
No.
I mean, I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of friends requests, and I just won't answer them because they, scammers and stuff like that. So yeah, you can actually buy my alcohol down in Red Line at the bottle, or you can sit there and have a drink and have something to eat and stuff like that, or you can do the same thing. Up in Dillsbury, you can buy my bottles, have cocktails, friends come in. I'll hold about 60 to 65 people in my Dillsbury location. It's a good time. We have a really good time. I'm usually there every weekend, unless I'm going down south to hang out with some guys down at Hillbilly Jams and stuff like that.
That's awesome. And one last time, Bill, where can they find Old Republic? I have it posted here, but you're in the different markets.
Yeah, we're in Thomasville. We're also in Eastern York Market, and we just started in Shrewsbury, Markets Shrewsbury. Really, though, if you live in Pennsylvania, the easiest way to get our stuff is just go onto our website, order it, we ship it right to your house. There's really nothing easier. There's no gas that you have to burn, and we'd love to ship it to you. You buy $99 or more, it's free shipping.
Drinkord.com.
Drinkord.com.
All right. It almost sounds like drunkard.
Well, it's supposed to.
So if you're out there, make sure you look us up on our YouTube channel. Give us a like and subscribe. All your social media platforms. We will be helping this Hops and Vines promote this event for the month of November, and get out there, support us by our link tree wherever you get your audio podcast, and the merch. Anything you buy of merch helps our production here and helps give us. But like and share it, tell your friends. By all means, get out here and see Jimmy Jaxx Shine Shack and Old Republic Distillery. We've had an awesome time, guys. I'm glad we got to get you in here. Bill, you got something to say?
Just one thing. I think everyone has some love potion with them.
Yeah. So this is going. So normally we have a Cheers beer, but we have a Cheers booze this time, and this is Love Potion. So tell us a little bit about the Love Potion.
Love Potion is fresh pressed strawberries and blueberries. It goes into a little bit of a process. We use corn liquor, and it's sweetened with agave nectar.
Agave nectar.
Nectar, which is what you make tequila out of.
So agave nectar, it almost sounds like nectar of the gods.
It is.
So that's why it's called Love Potion.
Exactly.
This isn't number 9, is it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It is. And I love that song, too.
Yeah, that's a great song, ain't it?
It's a great song. I grew up, my mom had the 45. We listened to it all the time. Loved it.
That was a great song.
So, hey, Bill, Jimmy, we appreciate you guys taking the time to sit down with the CPP. So if you're out there, let's raise a glass. I don't care what it's in it. Instead of being bonded by beer tonight, we are going to be bonded by booze. So let's all raise a glass with Bill and Jimmy, the CPP, and let's all be bonded by booze.
Amen.
Cheers.